Let's start today's practice in a tabletop position. We're going to start warming up the wrists, which is extremely important to do before any handstand workout, starting by just circling the weight over the wrists in one direction and the other. You can also turn the fingers out when you do this. Creates a little bit of a different sensation. And let's turn the fingers towards the knees if that's accessible. If not, just keep the fingers turned outwards. Here you can rock back and forth, keeping the heels of the hands grounded on the mat. Now let's come back to tabletop, and we will turn the palm of one hand up, fingers point towards the knees. You can either do this one hand at a time, or if you're pretty comfortable with this, you can do it both hands together. Just make sure you're not putting too much weight on your hands. Keep your core engaged and keep slightly pulling your hips back. Now let's turn the fingers towards each other, and we're going to open and close the fists. And I'm giving a lot of options for wrist warm-ups, but if one of these doesn't feel right for you, you don't have to do it. You can do what we did before. You can customize it so that it fits you. Here, let's bend the elbows out to the sides, keeping the hands in fists, strengthening the wrists. And now keeping the hands in fists, we're just going to come onto the knuckles and then onto the backs of the hands a couple times. Let's give the wrists a nice shake out, and we're going to warm up our forearms and our hands. Let's extend both arms out in front of us in the same line as the shoulders, and then open, close the hands as fast as possible. And now same thing, just lifting the arms above the head. Keep going as fast as you can. Bring them out to the sides. Out in front of you. Up above the head. Out to the sides. Go fast, 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 fast. Out in front of you. It burns. Up above the head. Out to the sides. And shake it out. Let's warm up the shoulders. Fingertips can touch the shoulders, and let's draw big circles with the elbows in one direction. You can also do the other direction. I just don't think it feels that great, so I decided to only do one, but if you want to do both, you can, of course. We're going to extend both arms out to the sides, and then you're going to internally rotate one arm and externally rotate the other, keeping the fingers straight. This is a stretch slash kind of nerve gliding. You might feel it in the nerve. Let's not do too much, but it feels really, really good. So a couple times on each side, rotating the arms in opposite directions. Now just stretching out the shoulders, extending the right arm across the body. Left hand can assist. You can also look over your right shoulder and maybe flex the right arm. And then let's bring that right elbow behind the head. Left arm or left hand can also assist the right elbow, or you can clasp your hands behind your back. And let's go ahead and repeat that on the other side. On your next inhale, let's reach the arms above the head, and then let's interlace all 10 fingers, push the palms of the hands away from you, right ahead, and separate the shoulder blades, chin into the chest. Inhaling, let's lift the arms up, and then a little side bend over to the right, just stretching out the whole left side of the body. And coming back through center, little side bend over to the left, bending the left elbow if you want to go deeper. Let's go ahead and make our way onto our backs. So imagining you're going into a low boat, but we're going to lift the right leg, left leg is hovering off the mat, and then crunches, hands try to touch your toes. Let's go for 10 times. If it's too hard here with just one leg up, you can have both legs up. And then let's switch sides 10 times, trying to touch the left toes. Right leg is extended out in front of you, hovering off the mat. And you can bring your knees into your chest, maybe knock the knees side to side, give it a little rest. And then we're going to do that 2 more times. Let's go ahead for round 2, starting with the right leg up, left leg hovering off the floor, 10 times. Feel free to bring that up to 20 times, or today maybe it's 5. Just making sure that you do the equal amount on both sides. Last and final round of our low boat, one leg crunches. Let's go 10 times on the right and really trying to touch those toes. And 10 times on the left. You got this. Working on our compression and hip mobility, let's make our way into a straddle pose, so legs extended out to the sides. We're going to extend the arms either up or out to the sides, or you can cross the arms in front of your chest, keeping the thighs extremely engaged. Let's bring the chest as close as you can to the ground, making sure the spine stays straight. Please do not round your back here. So even if that means not going as deep, that's fine. And we're going to end here with a forward fold. You can walk your hands out in front of you, either stay on the hands for support on the elbows, or if you can safely make your way all the way down to the mat, maybe you can even bring a block underneath your forehead to make it a little more comfortable. Again, this is an active fold, so we're still squeezing the thighs, lifting the kneecaps, and trying to keep the length in that spine extending through the crown of the head. Grab a chair or whatever it is that you can find to elevate your pike. You can choose different elevations. Of course, the higher the feet, the harder, the more weight it'll be on the shoulders. Here we're going to do shoulder shrugs. So keeping the hips directly over the shoulders, we're going to move the shoulders down and a little forward, and then pressing the mat away, lifting shoulders up towards the ears. So the shoulders are kind of moving towards the ears and then away from the ears. We'll do that a few times, and you can pause the video and go back if you want to. So for round 2, again, choosing your elevation and then shrugging the shoulders. This is going to help strengthen your shoulders. Also, when we're doing handstands, we always want to make sure that we are really bringing the shoulders up towards the ears, so this can help you understand that movement. Last and final round of our shoulder shrugs, or scapular elevation to be fancy. Make your way up onto the stool, and then let's shrug. Taking a good rest here, any stretches that feel good. Here I'm kind of like hugging myself, almost pulling the shoulder blades apart with the fingertips. It feels really nice, rounding the upper back. Feel free to take more rest if you need. Going back into our elevated pike, this time for shoulder taps. So right hand will be tapping the left shoulder, and you can alternate. You can also right hand taps the right shoulder. Instead of crossing over, that'll be a little bit harder. So about 5 taps on each side, and then a nice generous rest between sets. We're going to be doing that one more time. Second and last round of our elevated pike shoulder taps. If this is too easy for you, you can also do these shoulder taps in a handstand, maybe handstand facing the wall. And if this is too hard, then feel free to bring the elevation down. Make sure to give yourself a lot of rest here. Please pause the video, grab some water. We're going into one more elevated pike. So whenever you're ready, we're going to be holding the elevated pike with the option, it's an option, of lifting one leg. So make sure the elevated pike here is comfortable. If you want to lift one leg, go for it. The leg in the air is extremely active, glutes are engaged. If you want to take it to the next level and already start practicing your handstands, you can float the bottom leg off the stool, either keeping it in an L shape or in a bent leg shape like a tuck, only if it happens naturally, so without jumping, without kicking. We're going to do that on both sides. Feel free to do this multiple times as well. I'm only demonstrating it once, but you can do it a few times, just making sure you have enough rest in between. For the second leg, I'm just going to show you holding without kicking up, without floating. So either holding this pike or lifting one leg and just holding it there. The leg that's in the air is doing so much work. It's pulling your body weight back. You want to make sure that you're not rounding the spine, you're not planching the shoulders. So think about your form over trying to get into the handstand. Working on your building blocks, making sure your foundation is stable before you try anything crazy.